What's going on, man? So, big thank you to everybody who came out last night, support Audra and I. Appreciate it. Appreciate people that sent in their fines. That's always a big bonus. Always awesome finds as usual. Um, and of course, Clint never disappoints. Um, that's why we have to put him last. You just can't follow that. So um, appreciate it. Um, Dig it, dude, coming up. We did solidify some things today. I have new information, and that new information is that Phil and I will do shots. Um, uh, we confirmed that today, so that's a beautiful thing. Um, Other than that, no new Dig It Dude news as of yet. Shelly and Audra and I will be meeting Monday to discuss further things, but I do know that probably in the next week or two, we will be opening it up for anyone that wants to come. We just want to make sure you awesome people get first crack at everything as far as tickets go and all that good stuff. Um, Other than that, I don't think there's anything new. Um, Congratulations to me and Audra. Stream number 87 last night. Probably somewhere around the first week of September-ish or so, we will hit number 100. And you guys know we will do something pretty special for that, as we did for our 50th last year. Um, Amazing. She put up with me for 100 streams. Wow. Still flabbergasted. She just sent me a really cool picture. She bootified her house. Um, and it's going to be a big show. She is absolutely right. And she just sent me a pretty cool picture. She's got Buddha stickers now on her house and everything. That's a good thing. Um, Bring some calmness and some peace into the house, especially with her neighbors. But as you can see, I'm solo tonight. Um, Richie had something to do, so it's just me. So I'm gonna bore you guys for a little bit. Um, Before I actually get started, though, um, does anybody have any questions about Dig It Dude? Um, Anything maybe we haven't covered? Maybe something we covered and you guys missed? Um, Chaver, what's up? If you have any questions um, pertaining to Dig It Dude that you haven't had answered yet, please put it in the chat and we'll try to get that answered for you. If not, um, let's see. Let's get into why I chose a topic tonight. I usually don't choose a topic. I just kind of, can you go? Yeah, you can go. Yeah, you can go. You'll be home before your bedtime, maybe. Um, I don't usually choose a topic. I just kind of go with whatever. But you know, and maybe it's just me, but I've been kind of seeing in groups lately. I've seen it in my group. I've seen it in a few. Um, that I've seen some people post, hey, I saw this individual swinging uh, a foot and a half off the ground. Is that normal? I've seen somebody post, um, that their cat jumped up on the table while they're trying to live stream. Is that normal? In my house and Audra's house, that's pretty normal. Isn't that right, Mika? That's right, Daddy. Um, And I saw another post where I saw this guy moving at like Mach 5.5. Is that normal? The answer to all of these questions is no. Some people, well, I think what Paul's referring to when he says arch their swing, I think what he's referring to is some people do something called pendulum swinging, where they're swinging and it's kind of going like this. When they get to each end, they're coming up. Um, so I think that's maybe what Paul's referring to. Uh, yeah, like a clock pendulum. Um, how far is the hotel from? If you booked it in Tin Falls, mm, I'm gonna say 10 minutes tops. If you book the hotel in Tin Falls, which is where I think a majority did, yeah, you're looking at 10 minutes, 12 minutes, maybe. It's really close. It's literally the next town over, and um, I don't mean you have to drive through a whole town to get to the next town. It's literally from where that hotel is. If you booked it in Tin Falls, uh, wow, it's not far, man. It's real close, real close. Yeah, 15 with summer traffic, maybe. The Cool People Hotel. We have one of those that come out swinging. We just don't call it that. But so I've seen a lot of this posted lately, and far be it from me to um, criticize anybody the way they swing, um, because everybody does their thing. Everybody does it differently. Um, some people, they do walk pretty fast. They swing pretty fast. Um, I have seen people swing, and I look, and I kind of look and go, wow, is he like hunting for aluminum cans? Because that's the only thing he's going to hit from that height. But heck, Uber, nah, somebody will bring you over. We don't need to do that. But I will tell you this, and this doesn't matter how you swing. It doesn't matter what machine you use. None of that matters. If you go too fast, if you walk too quickly, you're going to miss things. I don't care what you swing. Um, for one, two, some people do pendulum swing, um, and sometimes that's a mechanical thing. You may have your cuff adjusted. Maybe you don't have it far enough back. Maybe you got it too far forward. Um, you know, uh, those are all things that can come into play. Um, Me personally, my cuff is all the way as far back as I can go because it's just more comfortable for me to have my arm stretched out, and I have more control. The less control you have, the easier it's going to be. Hey, JBP, the easier it's going to be for you to be off. But the reason why I picked gridding as a topic, which, as you guys mostly do, I mostly don't have a topic. Um, it just whatever goes goes, and that still applies. Whatever goes goes. But I like to do a lot of gridding, and for those who don't know what gridding is, which I'm sure everybody here does, is what happens sometimes is people will get into a field, and if it's the first time they've been there, they see this big, huge field. You look, and there's just no end to it. And hey, Clint, and sometimes what happens is when people get into a field for the first time, and it's huge. I mean, like 3 football fields long and 2 football fields wide. And people kind of get into this habit of they get onto a field and they're like, oh man, it's huge. Look at that. That looks really good over there. I want to work my way over there. And I always say the same thing. Why? Why? If it's a farm field or a grass field, it doesn't matter. Um, you know, I get onto a field and I see this huge, massive, behemoth thing of a field. I don't sit there and oh wow, you know what? That looks really good down there. Let me get there. How do you know? You don't know. You don't know. You don't know what's been on that field. You don't know if there was a house there 300 years ago. We all want to check the whole field. But see, the thing is, if it's a field that's a good sized field, you're not going to hit it in one day anyway. It's not possible. You can go out there for 6, 7, 8 hours. If it's a big enough field, you're not going to cover it in one day. And I see too often where I see people and they feel the need that they have to get to the other end of the field because they feel they're going to miss something, that something may have happened back there. If we all knew where everything was on a field, it would be too easy. We just don't know. You just don't know. And Shannon's right. You can't see yourself. You're not really catching what you're doing. And, you get onto a field and they just go. And the thing is, and Bruce will tell you this because Bruce and I hunt with Bruce more than I hunt with anybody. We get onto a field, we start right away. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we have found like really crazy stuff in spots on the field where you look at it and go, no, really? You don't know. You don't know. And like I said, if we all knew where the great spots were on the fields to go, we just go right to them. We don't. And I'll give you perfect examples. In April, I had the pleasure of hunting with John FLX and Brian, you're digging it. And we were in this, we hit a few different fields, and we hit this one field, and we were kind of all spaced out. It wasn't a real big field, so we kind of spaced out a little bit just so we weren't interfering with everybody. And Brian winds up pulling up a seated dime in a place where most people that I know wouldn't have detected, because it's close to the road, tends to be a little trashy, so people will stay away from it. And that's the thing. You don't know what was there 150, 200, 250 years ago. You have no clue. I was with Bruce in actually the same town as Dig Dude's going to be in. And him and I were in a field, and we were actually on our way back to our car to go hit another field. And I think I got, I want to say, 4 feet from the gravel parking lot, which is not a place you would think you would want to swing. And I said, but you know what? I'm swinging all the way back to the car. And I literally got 4 feet from the gravel parking lot and hit like a 32 signal, a 32 VDI on my Nox. And I said, well, I'm digging it. I dig it. It winds up being a really rare brothel coin. And Brucey was right there. We both were like, really? It's like in a parking lot. You don't know what was where, what was when. Nobody ever knows. Nobody knows anything. So in answer to those questions that I see when people ask these questions is no, you don't want to swing your coil a foot and a half off the ground unless you're aluminum can hunting, because that's about all you're going to hit. Or if there's a car bumper buried, 6 inches underground, you might hit that. And then you have the people that are swinging and walking at like Mach 6, which my wife does not. She walks at like Mach 0.2.
Shut up.
And when I see that, I'm like, that's the person I'm going to follow and go behind, especially if it's like a big hunt, because they're going to miss things. You're going to miss things. Thank you, Bruce. And the other thing is, it doesn't really matter what machine you have or how much money you spent on the machine. If you're going too quickly and you're walking really fast, it's going to affect the recovery speed. Because I know anybody here, especially if you have a Nox or whatever machine you have, where you'll be swinging, even if you're swinging slow, and you get over a target, you'll hear a little chirp. And sometimes when people are swinging, and if they're going too fast, they hear a chirp, and that's it, a little baby chirp, and they'll keep going like, nah. But if you were slow enough and going slow enough, you hear the chirp, and then you come back, and you give your machine enough time and the recovery speed enough time to recover, it now becomes a repeatable signal instead of a chirp. But for people who walk too quickly, you've passed it by already. Somebody's going to come from behind and get that. And I've seen that many times. So if you want to get into the habit, I live and breathe it, slow and low. Period. End of story. I don't care if it's a small field, a medium field, a big field. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry to get anywhere because I don't know what's what. I don't know what's maybe buried anywhere. I don't know if there's a real in that left corner. I don't know if there's a buckle in this one, a copper. I don't know. So I'm not taking any chances. So a lot of times what I'll do is, especially in a big field, because, most people, they get into a big field like that, they're all excited. They see, oh, you know what? I want to get down there. And it's already you've already got it in your head that you need to get down there. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why people do that. It doesn't mean that it is anything down. It doesn't mean that there was more activity down there than there was down here or to this side or whatever. If it's a big enough field, you're not going to hit it all in one day anyway. Why try? You're going to skip over things. You're going to take shortcuts. You're going to wind up cherry picking. You're not going to dig every target. If you have a big enough field like that, pick a corner. Pick a landmark, and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to go from the corner to here, and I'll go out 30, 40 feet this way and come around. You pick a corner and grid the corner. Audra loves the edges. She not worried about racing to get to the middle. She loves the edges. Bruce loves the edges. Bruce loves doing along the roads because they weren't always roads. Or if they were, they might have been dirt roads, and you don't know who is there. You don't know who is there. 15-year-old Johnny in 1825 might have, jumped out the window and was skipping down the dirt road because he's going to meet one of his hoes or something like that who's going to sneak out too, and they're going to meet in the field, do a little schmeckling. You don't know. Nobody knows. You can't take anything for granted. And if you're somebody who catches himself every once in a while, Dawn and Shelley, if you're one of those people that catches themselves, going too quickly or swinging too quickly or walking too quickly. Gridding is a really good way to help minimize that. Because if you pick a corner of a field and you pick an area, you don't have a choice. You got to go slow. You have to go slow. And if you're going to be slow and you can slow yourself down, you're more likely to keep your coil low to the ground because you're not in a rush to go anywhere. You're not going to pendulum swing. You're not going to just fly by night, whiz by. And another thing that people don't do, and I noticed this, is that gridding pegs on Roman. It's funny, Clint. The same thing. Every time I'm gridding and I'm hitting, Roman and medieval fields in New Jersey, I run into that same problem. I haven't found any medieval or Roman fields in New Jersey yet, but I'm working on it. But, if you find that way too often, oh, you're doing laundry. Cool. Actually, I already did it. You just have to fold it.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Sorry, we're a little domestication here. And I see it too often. And another thing I see that people don't do is, and I make a habit of doing this, is let's just say you're in the field, you hit a good target, right? Let's just say you hit a copper or you hit a silver or whatever you hit. And then I'll see people and they'll go in a line, and I do lines too. I don't always grid. Sometimes I'll go in a line. Sometimes I'll cross over, hit a different direction, but they'll hit a target, say they get a copper or silver, and then they'll continue going in their line. How do you know that was the only thing dropped there? So what you want to do is, if you hit a really good target, we'll say a Merc or a Real or whatever, a copper, what you do is, once you've hit that target and you covered your hole back up, spiral around that hole, go out 15, 20 feet, because if it's an area that somebody may have dropped more than one target, you want to spiral out of it because you don't know. So a lot of times what I'll do is, if I hit something good like that, I'll spiral out of the hole for 15 or 20 feet. And if there's no other targets, I just filled in my hole. I know where I left off, and then I'll continue on to where I went. Another thing I see all the time is people, they say, well, how do I know, if I'm doing a farm field, how do I know if I didn't hit that area already? Or if I very simple solution. Unless it's one of those days or areas or times when we haven't gotten rain in 2 months and the ground's hard and it's like concrete, then it doesn't matter. But if it's a normal, soft, if you drag your shovel, Eric and I do this, if you drag your shovel behind you, creating a line behind you of where you dug, then you know where you were, and you know that you moved to a different area. A lot of times I'll go in one direction and I'll hit the same area, but I'll come a different way because you don't know. It depends on the weather. When it's dry and the ground starts getting hard and the dirt's starting to get packed, it moves things. Yeah, you drag your shovel. That's exactly what you do. And it packs things together. And what you know, when the ground's a little softer and moister, you know, and these targets free up a little bit and maybe lay a little bit more flat, they're going to be, it's going to be a more solid signal. Sometimes it gets dry and there's no rain and the dirt gets packed in, coins wind up on edge, you know, so you're not going to get moist like Duncan Hines, Shelly. And they wind up being packed together on edge. There's so many different things. That's why it's important. Like that, when like if you get a coin on edge, that is when you get that squeak when you go by. And if you go too fast, you're gonna go right past it. You're either gonna miss it completely, or you're gonna go, it's not repeatable. I'm not gonna dig it. That don't mean there's nothing there. It just means you went too fast. It is what it is. Like warm apple pie. Exactly. Depending on the terrain. And the funny thing is, I'm gonna give you a little bit. I'm gonna give you information here. This is a freebie. It's not gonna cost you nothing. Every field's different. Dirt field. Olin, what's up? Dirt fields, grass fields. All right. So on dirt fields, like a dirt farm field, you know, you'll see people tend to dig deeper targets or wind up digging deeper because, you know, a lot of people don't plow anymore. You know, plowing is more time consuming. It costs more money here, like where we are. Very few people plow anymore or till anymore. What they'll do is they just cut slices and then they just throw seed down. It's quick, it's easier, it's cheaper. You know, so those deeper targets stay deep because they're not plowing anymore. Very few people plow or deep plow anymore. And then you take grass fields that have been grass fields forever. Maybe they were farm fields at one time, at one point, but now they're just grass fields. And it's not unusual to hit a 200-year-old coin 3 inches down or 4 inches down. Exactly, direct drilling. And the reason for that is because, you know, like let's just say we'll take a dirt area that doesn't really get tilled, doesn't really get plowed, or anything like that. I was told this once. You can account for 2 to 4 inches about every 100 years. Okay, so because, you know, dirt gets blown in from other places, it accumulates on a dirt field. It's going to accumulate. So over time, targets get deeper and deeper. Now you take a grass field that's been grass for a long time. It might have been dirt at one point, but let's just say for the last 100 years, it's not been used as a farm field. It's just turned into a grass field. Not unusual to find a 200-year-old coin 3 inches down because dirt gets blown in. It sits on top of the grass. And then wind comes again, it gets blown somewhere else. It's not collecting. It's not collecting. And right, hay fields never get turned over. And, you know, farmers are taking they're taking shortcuts. They're trying to get as much out of their fields as they can, spending as little as they can, taking as much, because time is money. So instead of plowing anymore or deep plowing anymore, they're just a machine comes in, cuts slices in it, they drop everything in, you're done, finished. Takes a whole lot less time. Yep, no till. Takes a whole lot less time, costs a whole lot less money. But that's why people in farm fields tend to wind up digging. Oh yeah, look how deep this was. Yeah, because it's not being plowed anymore. A 9-inch target 9 inches down isn't going to wind up 3 inches down because it got plowed up anymore because they're not doing it anymore. It's just not cost effective for them anymore. And so many fields, I don't know how it is everywhere, but here it seems like every other farm field almost it winds up getting sold, and they want to put an Amazon warehouse here, or they want to put, you know, um, low cost housing there. We have a field not too far that Eric and I have hunted, that was in the news. Actually, Brucey showed it to me, that they want to put a friggin' Amazon warehouse on it, because the farmers they don't want to be bothered anymore, and the people that live there are complaining because my kids grew up, they look out the backyard, they got this beautiful area and this field, and now they want to put a big old Amazon warehouse in a parking lot right in their backyards. But so that's the reason why I kind of did the whole gridding thing, because there's been a lot of that I've been seeing lately in the groups, and my group is as well. If you're one of those that catches yourself, let's put it this way: if you've got a farm field that's, we'll go 100 yards, one football field, and you start at one end, and within 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you're already at the other end, you went too fast. It's too fast. Pick a corner, just section out a little corner for yourself and grid that corner. Because you don't, like I said, you don't know where anything is there. You don't know where anything is. Period. Hey, Willie, you don't know what corner in that field is going to be the hot spot, if any of them. You don't know if it's going to be the middle of the field. You don't know if it's going to be the edges. You don't know if it's going to be along the road. Why take a chance? Why take a chance? Just take your time. You get on the field. Field dirt is awful, yes. You get on the field, pick yourself a little corner there, start there, grid it. You got a corner on the other side. Hit the road or the area right along the edge on the way to the other corner. Cover as much ground as you can, but you don't have to do it as quick as you can. If the field has targets in it, we'll say 150-year-old, 250-year-old targets in it, buckles, buttons, coins, I got news for you. The field's not going anywhere. It's been there for 100 years. It ain't going anywhere. You're not going to hit that big of a field in one day anyway, so why not hit whatever you're going to hit that day thoroughly? Period. Just hit it thoroughly. Exactly. You don't know. That's the thing. And I see it too often. Oh, I want to get to the back there. Okay. Go hit the back. I'm going to be right here. And, I've got just as much chance right here as you got back there. The only time on a big field that I will pick an area to detect just because of what I see is if I see a field and I see a dip in the field, and I know that dip's been there for a long time. I know that if things were dropped, it's going to, they'll wash down. So I will pick that little spot only because it's just physics. If you drop stuff and rain comes and all that stuff, it's going to wash down. Other than that, I'm not that picky. I'm not that picky. It is. It sucks, man. When I can't tell you how many spots we've lost because, it got sold. Contractors come in. I mean, we had permissions where we were hitting for the last couple of years, and we would drove by one day and there's contractors' trailers on some of them, and we're like, Jesus, man, They just want to build everything everywhere. Right, exactly. And check your holes. Scuba Sonia is a perfect example of that. 2021 at Digstock, somebody dug a hole. It was actually the day we left. Somebody dug a hole, and I mean dug a hole. I mean, they were digging to China. And I guess they figured they hit deep iron and left it. Didn't even bother going after it any further. She comes along, hits the same target. Now, they've already dug a good chunk of it anyway, so it was easier for her to get that out. And then she kind of figured out where it was, got down finally deep enough to get it, and it winds up being a War of 1812 shoulder plate. Don't give up too easy. Don't give up too easy. Unless you know 100% on a field exactly where maybe a homestead was or something like that, which is rare because not a lot of maps go back that far. But unless you know 100% there was a homestead there or there, take your time. Start at the beginning and don't take anything for granted. Just because it's a low tone or a mid tone or whatever, dig everything. 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 Do not take anything for granted. Do not assume because the last 17 times you dug the same signal, it was this or this or this, that it's going to be the same thing. Take care, Willie. What do they say? The assumption is the mother of all screw-ups. So do not do that. And if you grid already, then you know. If you don't grid, and and people get, part of this is mental. It is mental. You get onto a huge field, and some people, it's overwhelming. They don't know where to start, or I gotta, oh my God, this is huge. I don't know where to go. Where do I go? Where do I start? Start where you're standing. That simple. Start where you're standing. And and sometimes you dig in an area and it's trashy. Okay. What does trashy mean? Trashy means there's activity there. And doesn't mean it necessarily has to be recent activity. There's going to be recent activity, but underneath the recent activity is not so recent. And that's the thing. Shelly's right. If you get a good shotgun shell or head stamp, if it's big enough, or you get a complete chicken blinder, it rings up the same as a musket ball or a decent sized button, flat button, or a dandy button. And it's funny, I always say this when I'm out and I talk to myself when I'm digging a hole. I'll hit, for those who swing a Knox, I'll hit a 1920. We'll just say a 1920 VDI. And I'll sit there and I'll pinpoint it and I'll go, this could be 100 things that are really cool, and this could be 100 things that are not so much cool. You don't know. Just dig it. I hit nickel signals on my machine in a farm field. The chance of it really being an actual nickel are not good. You don't find a lot of nickels in farm fields. Even shield nickels. Shield nickels don't pop out of the dirt every day. But you don't know. And if you skip over it and somebody comes from behind you and winds up digging, say, a shield nickel or a 2-cent piece or something like that, because you didn't dig it, you're going to be pissed. It is what it is. You're going to be pissed. So don't leave it to the next person, because somebody, if it's not that day or the next day, eventually somebody is going to come behind that, and somebody is going to find what you didn't. And exactly, a trashy signal could be so many different things. And for those who have, depending on your pinpointer, um, you know, even when you get down in a hole, your pinpointer will tell you if it's iron, or because if I, with my pinpointer, especially my MindLab Pro, it'll tell me if it's iron. Does that necessarily mean it's not anything decent? No, most likely it's not. But why take the chance? Just dig everything. You got a fines bag. Most of us have a fines bag strapped onto our hip. If it winds up being a pull tab or a head stamp or something like that, throw it in your bag. Throw it away later. How many of you, just to give you an example, how many of you have dug a plug, you see a clump of dirt, and you see round, and you're like, ooh, 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 I see round, but you can't see the whole thing. So you're all excited, and then you sit there and go, ooh, let me see. And then you get it uncovered, and you see that little hole in the middle where the firing pin hit, and it winds up being a head stamp. And you're like, shit. But how many of you have done that and sit there and say, oh, it's probably a head stamp, and then pushed away the dirt and went, oh, it's not a head stamp, and it wound up being something cool? Why take the chance? Just dig it, and if it's shit, throw it in your bag. Most places have a can somewhere close by to throw your shit in and get rid of it, or you can keep it, collect it, take a picture, and send it to Dawn and Shelly, and you might win something. So it's not a total loss, period. And anybody in here that has my East Coast metal detecting shirts, if you read the back, what's it say, Phil? And Shannon, what does the back of that shirt say? I'm just waiting for an answer. Phil says he has his 800 program to say, just dig it, you fat lazy bastard. It helps. That's right, baby. It says dig it all. Dig it all. Don't take any chances. Because what you, like I said, you could dig the same signal 25 times, and 25 times is going to be a piece of shit. But that one time, it might not be. Just that one time. Yep, a head stamp sometimes is an IHP. It could be a flying eagle. Actually, on my machine, the flying eagles actually just ring up a couple of notches lower for some reason. Most of them because they come out like shit, so they don't hold up well in the ground. But, and there's a whole, hey, Deej, and it's like they say in sports. If you practice the right way, you'll play the right way in the game. If you get lazy during practice and you don't put the work in, it's going to show once the game starts. So, take your time. This hobby, you should be absolutely flabbergasted just to be out digging. Not at work, not doing stuff around the house. You're out, you're swinging. That's a win. And everything else is a bonus. So, exactly. You take your time, pick a small area of a big. Actually, Don and Shelly, I have my wife putting all the laundry away right now. I actually did the laundry, but I don't fold. She won't let me fold, and with good reason too. I suck at it. I can't fold shit. Now, if you want me to roll everything into 6-inch little things like I did when I was in the military, I can do that no problem. Unfortunately, my wife doesn't like her underwear and t-shirts and all that stuff rolled, so it is what it is. I don't mind putting it away. I just don't like folding it. Fortunately, we got rain today a couple of different times, so that was good because it's been getting dry. A little harder to dig, but this rain will help. Hopefully, we don't have the summer we had last summer where it didn't rain for 2 months between the end of June and July and August. It was brutal. But not that anybody, because I am no expert, but I'm just telling you what I do know, what I do, and how I do it, and I know it's, if you do certain things a certain way, it will help clean up other things, like, if you tend to go too fast, if you pendulum swing, if you swing too high, by gritting, it forces you to slow down. It forces you to keep your coil, as we say, to the soil, and it's not that you're going to cut. Well, you are. If you're going too fast, you're not really, you may be covering a distance, but you're not covering ground. And there's a difference. If you take your time and pick a spot, pick an area, grit it, and go slow, not going to miss anything. And the good thing about that is it's a small enough area where you can go one way, go a different way, because sometimes that does help to change direction. Just like when you hit a target, you may go over it one way and it's like a little dip, dip. And then if you turn and go in another direction, it's either gone or it's more of a repeatable signal. All by going slow. Just slow, 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 slow. Take your time. Take your time. Do it right. You can do it, baby. Do it tonight. But you just don't know. I've seen so many good targets, so many good things. They are streaming tomorrow night, no matter where she is. Are you going to be skinny dipping in the pool? Maybe streaming from what causes a signal to disappear? It's not that a signal disappears. You might get over something, and it could be deep iron. You'll catch it, and I don't know if you're in, and then you say, okay, I'm going to dig. You go to dig, and it's called the halo effect, or a broken halo, which is a nice way for Shelley to say that we are no angel. We're no angels. But it's called a halo effect. You get that little chirp, and you're like, okay, I'm going to dig it. And then you'll start to dig the plug, and then it's not there. It's not that unusual, especially with iron. But it's sometimes the signal doesn't, not just it disappears, but sometimes, especially when it's dry, targets can wind up on edge. Sometimes there's other metallic things in the hole. I mean, anybody that's hunted long enough, you can go over and go over a target, and it could be a pull tab in there, but it kind of sounds a little weird or scratchy. That doesn't mean there might not be a coin down there. It just means you hit the pull tab. So you have to recheck as Paul said earlier, always recheck your holes. Alan, what's up? And yeah, if you go slow, you'll save your energy and you can hunt for longer and cover more ground that way, but through time, through space, and time. She's always skinny. Audra, Shelly's going to be streaming from her pool tomorrow night. Skinny dipping. Her yayas are going to be out and all that. So, pool party Thursday. All right, that's cool. Excuse me for a minute. I smoke cigarettes because I don't like weed. So, but BC, tell you a blonde joke. I don't know if I know. Do I know any blonde jokes? I don't know if I know any blonde jokes. I don't think I know any blonde jokes. To be honest with you. I know plenty of dirty jokes. I just don't know any blonde jokes. Stuck in your shovel. Yeah, that's happened actually, believe it or not, if it's muddy. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I will tell you this, especially if you have a Knox, if you have an Equinox, and I can't speak on other machines because I don't swing them. I have them, I just don't swing them. If you have a trashy area, you have a trashy area. I'm gonna expel a myth. When I'm going to an area where it's trashy or anything like that, I am blunt. It's true. I throw on my 6-inch sniper coil. It's phenomenal at finding targets within the shit. Phenomenal at it. I can't speak for every machine. I don't know, but that and the thing is, people say, "Oh, well, if I put the 6-inch coil on, I'm gonna lose depth." No, you're not. No, you're not. Let me tell you something. You're not gonna lose depth, for one, and two, with that smaller coil, you almost don't even have to pinpoint. I mean, you can, and it's you'll be dead on, but you don't even have to pinpoint it. The coil's this big. It's this big. It's small. It's tiny, but it worked. I used it with corn stalks too, because you can't get an 11-inch stock coil or my 15-inch coil. I can't get it in there. I only smoke weed to keep it out of the hands of the kids. You know what? That's what a good parent does, right there. I'm telling you right now. Yep, Iron Halo. Clint just put it. Yep, and it's you've got when you think about iron, you've got iron, and then you've got the rust. But see, when you get down far enough, when you start to see that soil turn red down there, and you got an idea, you just hit iron. But BC says, tell him a joke. I could tell him any joke because I'm a blonde. Well, actually, this is green, but all right. So let's see. We don't have any kids in here, do we? I just need to see first before I tell this joke. All right. No kids in here? I'm just checking real quick. Hold on. I don't want to get any nasty messages on Facebook Messenger. It's green, yes. Yeah, if you're not on Facebook, if you went on Facebook and saw pictures we posted, yeah, it's green, dude. Like fluorescent green. I'm talking like brand new batteries green. It's just the lighting down here it makes it look blonde. But yeah, wait, dude. Wait. All right, so who's ready for a joke? It's a little dirty, but as to be expected. BC, you ready? You ready for a dirty joke? All right, so if this offends anybody, I apologize in advance. Sorry, not sorry. All right. What's pink and tastes like pussy? I'm waiting for an answer. Nobody has an answer? Repeat that. What's pink and tastes like pussy? Phil. The answer is there's your answer. Phil was right. And I'll tell you where that works really well. Eric, what's up? I'll tell you where that joke works really well. If you go through a toll booth or tell it to like a female bartender or a female at the toll booth, it's really goes over really well. Eric must be done putting the kitties to bed. Tuna, ooh, tuna. No, Charlie. No tuna. You got pink tuna? If you're eating pink tuna, then no. Ooh, no. What's that? What was that old saying? If it smells like cologne, leave it alone. If it smells like fish, or something. I don't remember. So yeah. So in a nutshell, I'll end with this. Don't discriminate. If it's a road, if it's alongside of a road, a field, dig alongside of the road. You don't know. You don't know who is there, why they were there. Like I said, little Johnny may have, 15-year-old Johnny in 1825, may have snuck out the house, to, run down the road to meet his hoe, and they might have done a little schmeckling, in the field. And you don't know what they dropped. Um, you don't know where brothels were. You don't know where anything was. None of us do. Just dig, dudes. Slow and low. Grid an area. Go slow. Keep your coil on the soil. And dig it all. Schmeckling. I said schmeckling, yes. It's the, Italian Jew. I'm not a Jewish, but why do women run their eyes in the morning? I've never seen a woman run their eyes. I'm curious, Javier. You have me curious now. John, you and I watched Brian dig up a seated dime close to the road. Oh, rub. Why they rub their eyes in the morning? Dare I ask? Please do tell. I dug my drape bust dime a couple weeks ago. 30 feet from the road. Because they don't have balls to scratch. You never know this day and age, You don't know. But I want Shannon. I need Shannon. I need Shannon to tell me a joke. Come on, Shannon. Tell me a joke. Tell me a joke, Shannon. Make me laugh. Come on. Give me a cute joke. Come on, Q. Give me a joke. Is Q still here? Let me see. Is Q still here? She is. Tell me a joke, Q. Come on. Come on, Shannon, tell me a joke. She's brain dead. I know Shannon has to have jokes. She has to have a joke. She has to. Come on. Just, Audrey will tell me a bass guitar joke. You can't? Come on, Q. Tell me a joke, Q. All right. So I'll do one more. Let me see if I can actually do this where you can see it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. All right. So I'll do it this way. What's this? Anybody know what this is? None. Anybody know what this is? Thing off the Addams Family? No. Finger wave? No. $20 in a parking lot? No. It's a midget with a heart on. On that note, thank you all for coming. I have been told, come hell or high water, Dawn and Shelly will be streaming tomorrow night, regardless of where they are, period. So tune in, 7 o'clock. Can you dig it with Dawn and Shelly on YouTube? Also on Facebook, but they will not be watching the chat on Facebook. And y'all have a great night. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. And peace. We're out. Have a good night.